welcome back to The Explainer. Look, if you're tuning into this, you're not here to figure out how to just get by. You're here because you want more. Today, we're diving into a highly targeted executive briefing designed exclusively for high achievers. We are literally unpacking a proven strategic blueprint for escaping a mediocre life and engineering extreme financial success. To do this, we're reverse engineering the habits of visionary entrepreneurs. Specifically, we're dissecting the documented strategies of Elon Musk to show you the exact mechanics behind building extraordinary wealth. But before we get to the strategies, we have to face a brutal, fundamental truth highlighted in the source material. An average mindset predictably creates an average life. It's a strict equation. You know, if you want extraordinary wealth, you have to fundamentally stop operating like everyone else. It demands a complete rewiring of how you perceive your goals, how you assess risks, and how you deploy your daily effort. So to get there, here's our 6-part roadmap for today. We're going to cover escaping the mediocre life, cultivating a visionary mindset, embracing strategic risks, execution and high-value skills, relentless perseverance, and finally, your blueprint forward. Let's jump right into part 1, escaping the mediocre life and breaking the status quo. Because before any real wealth is generated, your baseline mindset has to shift. Think about the phrase, average mindset creates average life. It sounds simple, but it's the core trap of mediocrity. If you assess risk, process information, and spend your time exactly like the majority of the population, your results are naturally going to regress to the mean. You're going to be average. This blueprint insists that breaking away from consensus thinking isn't just a good idea, it is your mandatory first step. That brings us to part 2, cultivating a visionary mindset, which reveals our first secret. This demands a total recalibration of what you're actually aiming for in life. The absolute crucial point here is scale. You have got to think monumentally big. Our source material points out a fascinating distinction. Elon Musk didn't just wake up wanting a massive bank account. That wasn't the goal. He wanted to fundamentally alter the trajectory of humanity. Visionaries don't just chase money. They chase audacious problems. The wealth, that's merely a byproduct of the scale of the problem they solve. Think about it. Most people are focused on small, short-term payouts, but true visionaries channel their bandwidth into monumental goals. Musk wasn't looking for a quick exit strategy. He was busy building Tesla and SpaceX. He was literally building the future. When your goal is simply to make a quick buck, your impact is capped. But when your goal is to build the future, the ceiling on your potential wealth completely disappears. Which leads us perfectly into part 3, embracing strategic risks. This is secret number 2, because visionary thinking is completely useless if it isn't paired with an uncompromising willingness to put it all on the line. Playing it safe actively guarantees you stay average. Just look at Musk's financial history. He poured almost all of his early capital into his companies, pushing himself right to the brink of personal bankruptcy. Why would anyone do that? Because achieving extreme financial success means embracing extreme financial exposure. He believed entirely in his vision. You simply cannot cling to the safety net of an average life while simultaneously trying to build extraordinary wealth. The two just do not coexist. Moving on to part 4, execution and high-value skills. Here's where we uncover secrets 3 and 4. Because let's be real, monumental goals and high risks mean absolutely nothing without an intense, relentless execution engine. 80 to 100 hours. Just let that number sink in for a second. That is the number of hours Elon Musk works in a single week. Success doesn't negotiate with comfort. The source material is totally unapologetic about this. Aspiring millionaires have to commit to punishing work schedules. While the competition is unwinding on the weekend, having a couple of drinks, visionaries are using that exact time to outpace them. Extraordinary output requires a completely asymmetrical commitment of time. But here's the catch. Raw hours aren't enough. You have to pair that time with high-leverage skills. You could work 100 hours a week, but if the market doesn't value what you do, you won't see massive wealth. We're talking about mastering complex areas like sales, technology, AI, and business scaling. Heck, Musk famously taught himself rocket science just from reading textbooks. Just imagine that level of dedication. That's the standard. The rule here is brutal but true. To out-earn the market, you must outlearn the market. Now for part 5, relentless perseverance, which is our 5th secret. This is the ultimate filter for extraordinary wealth. Because when you aim this high, you are absolutely going to encounter crushing failures. Consider the absolute gauntlet Musk had to run. He had to endure near bankruptcy. He had to watch Tesla teeter on the very edge of collapse. He had to withstand the catastrophic explosions of early SpaceX rockets. For an average mindset, any single one of those events is a giant flashing signal to quit and go find a safe corporate job. But the data shows that failure isn't a dead end, it's a requisite data point. Winners process failure as feedback, and they just keep going. Losers process failure as a stop sign. And finally, part 6, your blueprint forward, where we synthesize all these secrets. Let's pull all of this intelligence together into an actionable framework you can deploy right now. To truly escape mediocrity and engineer extreme financial success, you have to internalize these 5 directives. First, think bigger. Chase audacious problems, not just paychecks. Second, work harder. Deploy asymmetrical effort. Third, take risks. Burn those safety nets. Fourth, learn aggressively. Acquire those high-leverage skills. And above all else, never ever quit, because relentless perseverance is the only true hedge against inevitable failure. So, I want to end on this thought. Your future is a direct output of the actions you take today. You now have the blueprint. You know the exact mechanics used by the world's most successful visionaries to bridge the gap between an average life and extraordinary wealth. The rest? Well, that all comes down to execution. So as we wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with just one question. What is your next move?